Hello, listeners, and welcome to a new episode of Never Seen It. This is a podcast about movies that we haven't seen yet. I'm your host, Betsy, and with me is Trent.
Hey, Betsy.
How you doing, Trent?
You know, you shouldn't really ask me that question because I feel like I've been sick now for the past couple of weeks. If you cannot tell through the sound of my voice, because that's the only thing that you can really tell about me, yeah, I've been kind of sick, but still excited to sit down and talk with you about movies.
Well, I'm glad, Trent, because it is November. We have begun a brand new series. We are watching 4 movies by the master director himself, Ridley Scott. He's been working at this for a few years.
A good long time.
But there are many of his movies that we have not watched. So this is episode 2 of the series. We are watching a movie that I have seen, but you have not. From 2003, we are watching Matchstick Men.
Just a couple of years after Black Hawk Down.
Yeah, we're staying in the aughts for the majority of these, if we're being totally honest, but it's because we had a lot going on in our lives back then.
And he made a lot of movies.
He has made so many movies.
Yeah.
So Matchstick Men, Trent, I've seen this, you have not. What do you know about this movie?
So Matchstick Men as a name has been in my head since it was brand new. Even back then, I didn't really know what it was, and today I kind of still don't know what it is. But I did watch a trailer for this movie when we were trying to pick a bunch of Ridley Scott movies. And, I mean, it seemed intriguing to me. It seems like this is a Nic Cage movie with Sam Rockwell and another gal I don't really know, where the two guys are con men, and the gal is Nic Cage's daughter, and she gets involved somehow in their cons. But I guess the wrinkle in this entire thing is that Nic Cage has some kind of weird OCD, and that is involved somehow. I have no idea.
He's an eccentric con man.
I guess.
I guess that's what they were going for or something. I have not actually seen this movie probably in 20 years, just about. I saw it in the theater.
Really?
This came out September of 2003, so I'm pretty sure that I saw this the week I moved into my dorm because I went to college early, like in August. So I brought
You were a freshman.
Yeah, so I went for like a special program earlier than the rest of the freshmen.
I did the same thing, but at my school.
And so I brought like the bare minimum. But then my parents came back like a few weeks later when all of the students came and brought the rest of my stuff. And since they were there and school hadn't really started yet, because it was really a weird setup. I went there with a group of about 20 kids and I was there for like a week. Then the freshmen got there and it was just the freshmen for like 2 or 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Then everybody else moved in. But it was during that freshman time that my mom and I think my brother came. And they were there for a few days and I didn't have any friends and I didn't have anything else to do. So we all went to the movies and we saw Matchstick Men.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a distinct memory of seeing this movie in the theater. And then I watched it maybe one other time when it was on video, like, I don't know, maybe still in college or a few years after college. And I have not watched it since then. So I remember enough about it, but if you don't know anything about this other than what you saw in the trailer, we can kind of cut this intro short and we're going to go watch it.
I think that's a good idea because I really have nothing else to say.
Sounds good to me. So we're going to go and watch Matchstick Men and we will be right back. And we are back from watching Matchstick Men. Now, I'm going to preface this, listeners. If you have not seen Matchstick Men, this is the kind of movie that I strongly encourage you to stop listening, go watch it, come back and finish the episode, because it is going to ruin the movie for you if you listen to an in-depth conversation about it.
We will spoil this movie.
This is going to be a spoiler-rich episode that will alter your experience viewing it if you haven't seen it. Getting that out of the way, Trent, What did you think of Matchstick Men?
You know, early on, maybe even like 2/3 of the way through the movie, I would have come back and said, this is okay. Not really feeling it all that well. There's a kind of a sweet father-daughter kind of a thing maybe I can latch onto and say something about, and maybe there's going to be an ending where it's somehow fulfilling, and maybe you're not going to want to follow the life of crime. But no, it took a turn I was not expecting, and I'm a lot happier for it. I like this movie now.
You liked the turn.
I did, because not only did Nic Cage get swindled, but I did too. I got fooled.
I had a similar experience as you when I saw this movie the first time. They are extremely adept at not making you realize that you are also being conned as a viewer.
Yeah, and I'm thinking about it over and over again, and it's all there. Frank, the Sam Rockwell character, he is the one putting all of this together, setting all the pins up so that they can throw the ball down there and knock them all down, to make a bowling reference here. And again, it doesn't reveal itself until about 2/3 of the way through the movie, and all Nic Cage can do here is just throw up his hands and say, "You got me," because I'm just giving it all away to you.
Yeah, at no point did I expect this movie to go the way it does, because Alison Lohman, as his teenage daughter, is incredibly convincing, despite the fact this actress was 23 years old at the time she auditioned for the movie.
I kind of figured that.
Once you knew, but did you watch this movie thinking that girl is way older than 14? Or did you
No.
expect she's a teenager, maybe playing slightly younger than herself?
That, yeah. And I was fooled, because this entire story is very plausible. Of course, it's also a movie. You have to suspend your disbelief about anything that might be out of place because you're watching a movie. That comes with the territory. But because this guy seems to be the kind of guy who, his wife would leave him because he's just fucking crazy and he's a criminal, it would make sense that the ex-wife and baby mama wouldn't want anything to do with him and wouldn't want her daughter to have anything to do with him either. So there's a kind of a forced separation there between that part of his life and this part of his life. So I'm in my head, I'm making excuses and I'm allowing things to kind of go by and not me question it. And like, why don't we see, what was her name? Heather? Yeah. Why don't we see Heather at any time? But again, they're giving me all these excuses as to why. So I'm just accepting it. And so is he.
There are gaps in the information, and he is making assumptions, and we make the assumptions along with him.
Exactly.
Like when his wife left him, he was kind of a troubled soul. He drank a lot. He had problems. She didn't want to be married to this guy who was a con man. So,
and he was abusive. He hit her.
So they don't have any contact with each other. He knows that she was pregnant. He does not know and has never bothered to confirm what happened in that situation. He just assumes that he probably has a kid out there in the world. So when somebody in his life shows up claiming to be his child, because of the circumstances, how he got there and how they came to connect, he doesn't question it. And neither do we. And we just keep going, yeah, that's his teenage daughter. Yeah, that's his psychiatrist.
He puts in the trust into this guy, this doctor, that he just happens to get a recommendation from Frank because of XYZ, and he just goes along with it.
Yeah, we don't know the history of how long he and Frank have known each other, but he clearly trusts Frank. So why wouldn't he trust the doctor?
He calls him his protege.
Why wouldn't he trust this girl who shows up? Why wouldn't he trust the guy that Frank says they're going to con?
Because it is the logical next step in this process. Why would you question it?
And that is how cons work. You are putting your faith in other people. And the con men in this movie are preying upon people's curiosity.
Yeah.
And it's really well played out when they show the different cons that they work on. The people who are just like excited to win a prize on the phone, or, The woman at the laundromat who's just like, oh, we won. I called the number, so it must be legit. And they have no reason to distrust the situation.
Yeah.
But they're also so curious. You pique their interest just a little bit and you hook them. So we see that kind of a con many times throughout the movie. And only once do we see them try to do a major con and it doesn't really go well. So you just keep going along assuming, yeah, this is his last job. This is him getting out of the game. What you don't expect is that literally everything we have seen the whole fucking movie is a setup.
Yeah.
And we should, as film goers, know this. We should know better.
Yeah,
we
because
should know. Name me a con movie that doesn't end like this.
You're right, and I should have known better. And because this movie is so highly rated, I just felt like, again, before the big reveal, I felt like, man, is there just something I'm missing here? Is there going to be like a fantastic ending? Because I was trying to think, how does this movie end? Because I'm trying to think in my head, what are the scenarios here whereby this movie ends? Okay, he gets out of the game. Okay, he gets confronted by the guy that they con. Makes sense. I kind of figure that might happen at some point. But they can take care of a situation. They go to the next thing, he puts it all out there, and then he wakes up in this hospital room surrounded by cops. Okay, that's fine. That's the next logical step. But again, what I was not expecting here is that Frank was the guy who completely set all of this up from the beginning. He's the guy who gave the recommendation to Nic Cage for the doctor. Frank also knows that he's not taking his medication anymore, the medication that he's had forever, and that he was getting illegally. So there's no trail there, I guess.
I'm sure that is also somebody that Frank recommended, his previous doctor.
Maybe.
We have no idea how long Frank has been conning this guy in one way or another.
Yeah, and one thing that I read was the pink pills that he's taking is like a fucking antihistamine, in real life anyway.
Yeah, he's taking drugs that are totally safe to take, but it's all placebo effect.
It is, yes.
It's what he believes that the pills are that make him act differently.
Fine, but I'm just saying, in this movie, maybe those pills were helping him, and he was getting them from this semi-legit source, and maybe they were helping him. And then he's off of them, and he gets a new source, and he believes that it's actually working. But I think what you're saying now, and me thinking about this, I think you're probably right. The pink pills at the beginning did not do anything, and those were not real pills.
No, this guy has never set foot in a pharmacy until he's desperate to get him. He just keeps trusting that the people around him are legit, which is really counterintuitive for a man who makes a career out of conning people and getting them to trust him.
You're right. You should be questioning everything because you're the guy who is trying to lead other people down this other path.
Or at least like running a background check or something. Do any amount of checking instead of any amount of assuming, which is what he's doing.
Due diligence.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, sitting right now, I'm kind of impressed by the fact that I didn't pick up on any of it. Normally, I'm pretty good at this shit, but yeah, I'm totally sold.
The big reveal at the end, there's kind of two things that happen at the end. First, that guy shows up in his house and Sam Rockwell's been apparently beaten and he's threatening him with a gun and the music changes completely and you're like, oh shit, it's all gone south. What's happened?
It's the logical way that a movie like this would go. And I even had the question, the one thing that was not tied up neatly for me was, how did this guy who was in his house, who got conned, how did he find out? And you said, well, maybe they opened up his briefcase at the airport security and they found out that there wasn't any real money in there and blah, blah, blah.
When in reality, he's in on the whole fucking thing.
He is, exactly.
Because that's not the real con. That's part of the major con.
Right. So that right there, because I didn't have an answer to that, should have been a clue at the very least. But I just kind of went with it because, hey, a lot of other things are happening.
And it's a movie.
It's a movie.
You just figure
I want all these kinds of movies to just wash over me. I didn't make a lot of notes here because there's not a lot of stuff that happened in the beginning. And it's mainly just kind of character stuff. including this idea that we mentioned at the beginning of the episode about the fact that Nic Cage has this weird OCD tic where he opens up doors and windows and closes doors and windows 3 times. He has to do it. He counts it. He's a neat freak. He's weird about dust and germs and whatever else, that people started to become aware of these conditions and didn't really have a good understanding, which is why I think Nic Cage can get away with having these weird tics and just kind of making it up as it goes.
Yeah, I'm sitting here trying to decide if this movie is fair about the OCD-ness of it, because I think most people who have diagnosed OCD are going to tell you that most interpretations of it, most depictions of it are kind of leaning into the, oh, you just like count things or you clean things. And I think there is some truth to this, but I don't know if this is exactly a accurate and fair interpretation.
Well, and
it's also through the lens of Nicolas Cage, who is kind of a ticking, performing, large actor to begin with.
Yeah, and like OCD itself takes the form of so many different things, so you can't just say, like, you point at somebody and say they have OCD because they do one thing. Well, no.
Most people go, "Oh, I have OCD. I'm just kind of being OCD today." It's like that's not what that is. No, this man is like obsessively cleaning his house and sweating and freaking out over carpet.
Yeah, one little thing goes wrong and he is tearing apart the entire house. And that's something that somebody on methamphetamine would do. So I kind of don't like that it's here, but it just lends a little bit to his character that he's a little bit weird, a little bit off. Because otherwise, what else is there about his character?
Yeah, he could be like a really uptight dude, a really anxious dude.
Could be completely neurotic. Yeah, there's a lot of different things that you could do, but I think maybe in 2003, it was in the zeitgeist at the time, and hey, we can just apply this thing to this character. Why not?
And it's based on a book, so it's hard to say it because I haven't read the book, if that's part of the character in the book.
When did the book come out? Yeah.
Yeah. So it's an element of the story that I sit and I go, do I need it? I don't know. Like, I don't think so. I think Nicolas Cage is really good in this movie, since we're here talking about him.
There's only a couple of different moments here where he is totally Nic Cage, and the one that comes to mind is when he goes to the pharmacy at the very end, and I can't remember the line that he tells somebody.
He cuts the line, and the man says, "Don't you see there's a line?" And he says, "Have you ever been dragged out into the street and beaten until you piss blood?" But the way he does it is in the way that Nicolas Cage was.
In a Nicolas Cage way, of course.
Where he's very big and sweating and, gesticulating like a madman, only to be told that he has been taking menopause supplements.
Which I do appreciate that. And they pay it off because he goes back to this doctor and he says, "Dude, you're fine. There's really nothing here. You don't require medication." And of course, this is before we know that he's not a doctor, but he says, "Your condition is not anything that would require to be medicated. So you just need to work on whatever it is that you need to with your own relationships in your life and maybe change your line of work."
I think this is another moment that the movie kind of fakes you out. Like, there's sort of a twist here where you realize he's been duped by his doctor. He's not taking real pills. And then he confronts him and then he immediately says, "Oh no, yes, I did this because reasons." And so your brain goes, okay, that sounds logical.
But it also should be a clue that he is also easily duped.
Yes, it should be, but we're stupid and didn't notice it.
You're right, yeah. So, I mean, as far as the rest of the Nic Cage performance here, I really like how he's interacting with his quote-unquote daughter. They have an interesting relationship. I think the sparks kind of happen here, but again, I have to couch it in the fact that she is also doing her own kind of performance here to make him I don't know, fall in love in that father-daughter way.
Absolutely. And he falls for it, and so do we. Like, they have a great relationship, these two. He has absolutely no idea at the beginning of the movie how to interact with a teenage girl. And as they spend time together, and he gets to know another human at all because they set up he's kind of a loner and hasn't had a relationship in probably 15, 20 years.
He's obsessed with his obsessions. That's about all you can really say.
He's not living his life. He is doing his grifts, his small-time cons.
He's in his routines.
And to have this new person introduced into his life, he just sort of rolls with it. Like, it's a hard transition, but also he's trying to do it.
Yeah, and they also do the movie thing of putting him in scenarios where, hey, it's going to be humorous because she's over there and he doesn't want her to be there because he's doing some other business thing.
It's the odd couple thing.
It is.
She's really messy and young, and he's really set in his ways and obsessive, and he needs her to stop doing what she's doing.
Yeah, it's a tale as old as time.
But as he settles into this relationship, like there's the scene where she goes home to mom and he's playing a message she left on his answering machine, and he's just sitting in front of the refrigerator, and there is a side that is completely disgusting marked hers and his side that says his, and it's completely pristine, and he's just sitting there playing the message over and over, smiling. And it's really sweet.
But it's not, though, now that I know that is fucking fake. I feel cheated by that because I liked that.
But it wasn't fake. Like, they give it to you at the end of the movie.
You're right.
They, a year later, run into each other completely by chance. And he could rat her out. He could be angry. But he was ready to get out of this game because she made him change his opinions about the business. Yes, maybe it was fake, but the way he felt about it is real.
Yeah, he steps back into it just momentarily to ask her the questions. Are you working this guy? Do you actually like him? And he also asked, like, what happened with Frank? And she said there, oh, yeah, there was something about my cut and whatever else.
She got screwed, basically.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that and that stuff anymore. And they have this spark. They know that they had this spark together, and at the very end, they keep it copacetic. They revert to where they were before he got, betrayed. Which, I mean, yes, it was a nice moment, but again, I just feel cheated by the entire thing.
Well, we'll talk about that more in a minute, but for now, we need to take a quick break from our sponsor, and we'll be right back. Feeling run down, lethargic, a little bloated?
Yes. Oh, God, yes.
Well, have I got the prescription for you?
Oh, no, not another pill. I take enough of those that I find in the dumpster behind the Burger King.
Oh, no. It's better than any dumpster pills. It's patreon.com/neverseenitpod.
I'm interested. Tell me more.
It's premium content from those jokers at Never Seen It. They have 4 other weekly shows, plus bonuses.
I've heard of those guys. They're like super talented and funny.
And sexy. Don't forget sexy.
Oh, then I'll definitely check them out. Thanks, disembodied voice.
Anytime. So I think it helps that you had not seen Alison Lohman in, I think, anything before watching this movie today.
Her face looked really familiar, but I don't think I've seen her in anything.
This was the time for her. Like, when she was really making a lot of movies was the early 2000s. The only other one that I know definitively I've seen her in is Big Fish, which I know you have not watched.
Nope.
So I figured, okay, you're going to see this movie and you're going to have no context clues for who this person is, how old she is. You had nothing. You had no reason to expect that she's not really 14 years old.
Well, because I know what this movie industry does with younger people, especially back in this era, like 20 plus years ago. Yes, of course, they're going to hire somebody in their 20s to play somebody who's a teenager because that's just what happens.
She could have been 27 for all you know.
Yeah, that would have made sense. And there wouldn't have been any kind of con relating to it. Which, by the way, it does make sense that he wouldn't know what a real 14-year-old looks like because he wasn't around while she was growing up, so it makes sense.
And he's never around kids at all.
Yeah, why
of
would he
any
be?
age.
Yeah, why would he be?
She's made up. She has little, like, pigtails. She's wearing a retainer. She rides around on a skateboard.
Yeah, she's like a punk kid.
He absolutely buys into this because he has no reason to expect anything else. As far as he knows, this is his daughter. And I like their relationship. I do. And there's that cute scene in the middle where they have kind of a fight and she says, show me what you do. And he confesses,
Yep.
I'm a con man. Show me a con.
Con
show
artist.
Me. Oh, excuse me. Con artist. And she says, please show me a con. I want to learn how to do this. And they go on a little adventure together where he shows her how to pull a job.
Yeah.
And I love the sequence right after that where he goes to his therapist and he's chain smoking like a madman. And he's like, I feel like it was weird, but also I loved it. I loved
we
bonding.
had such a great time.
I loved bonding with my daughter and teaching her how to pull a con. It was the happiest I've been in forever.
But of course, he's also using the language here of, getting her to lie about this antique.
Because he hasn't told his therapist that he's not really an antique dealer.
Antique broker.
Because, that's a job that people have and are really everywhere in Los Angeles, ?
I think this is LA because the landscape kind of looks like it.
Yeah, the skyline, that's LA.
Yeah.
And they're at LAX at one point of the movie.
And smoking in LAX. Good God.
Remember 2003?
Even in 2003, people are still smoking everywhere, even in the airport.
Okay, since you touched on it, there are just a few moments like that date this movie ever so slightly. Like, they don't have cell phones. Not one person uses a cell phone in this movie.
Nope.
But the smoking should be one giveaway, especially because they're smoking indoors. And this is, again, 2003, which was maybe 2 years.
In California, I think they banned it earlier than everywhere else.
New York was certainly one of the first ones, but let's say we're still 6 months to a year before that really kicking into effect.
Yeah.
The other thing is there's like a joke in here that Sam Rockwell makes about that newfangled internet, and I just don't get it.
Yep.
Those are really the only things. Because even the cars, I'm not really bothered by. They're just, of the time. But everything else doesn't really date this movie.
No, and the only phone I see people use are the landlines on the wall. And when Sam Rockwell is in his office and he's actually on the phone with the people that he's trying to con, he's got the old school headset and he's got the phone that he's using on his desk is from the 60s or 70s, it looked like, where there's a physical switch that he flips over to put people on hold. This movie could have been set in the 60s or 70s, as far as I'm concerned.
So Sam Rockwell, we haven't touched on him yet. This is one of his earlier, major movies, because the first thing I saw him in was Charlie's Angels, and that came out in 2000. And then the only other one I had seen him in at this point was Galaxy Quest. But then it's this string of movies. Somewhere in here, he did The Green Mile, and he made this movie.
The first thing that I saw him in, and I think that was oh God, was that 98, 99, 2000?
I think it came out in 99 or 2000, maybe. But me as a film viewer, I still only sort of knew who he was. But you can just see he's already fully formed. He's just doing the Sam Rockwell shtick, but I'm here for it. I love it when he's just strutting. I don't think this man can walk. I think he does not walk. I think he's always got that little swing in his step. And you said you were waiting for the dancing.
Yeah, I was waiting for him to do his dance because he has to dance in everything that he's in.
Every movie, he somehow finds a way to work in a dancing sequence. And when they're at the airport doing the dry run of what they're going to do to switch these briefcases, he's like, we're going to do this, we're going to do this. And he starts doing a little cha-cha or something.
He's also wearing kind of goofy outfits, when he's in the airport and he's wearing the cowboy hat for no reason. And then he comes over to his place later and he's wearing cowboy boots.
And this should have been another giveaway of the times. The fact that they're just loitering around this airport, and this is in 2003. Your comment was, well, this movie was written earlier than they actually filmed it.
Well, the thing that I was saying is when Nic Cage tells him to follow him to the door, to the gate.
Walk him to the plane.
Walk him to the actual plane. I feel like they had to add a line here to say, oh, no, I can only go to security. That's it.
Or they're just demonstrating how out of touch he is. That he doesn't realize that he cannot go to the plane because he hasn't been at the airport in God knows how many years.
True.
That he hasn't ever traveled anywhere. He lives this tiny little existence in his shitty little office. Even though he has this big house, he's barely in it. He doesn't have a dog. He doesn't have kids. He doesn't have anything. And he just sort of isolates himself from the rest of the world.
And all he's doing is just accumulating all of this cash that he puts in his safe deposit box. He's got close to $1 million, and he's doing what with it?
Yeah, what is the point of it all?
Yeah, what are you doing with all this money?
It's not until he's got a daughter in the picture that he goes, now I understand. Now I get it. I'm going to get joint custody. I'm going to take care of her. He puts her down as like someone who can access his safety deposit box, but doesn't give her the passcode. He just basically says, you're allowed to be in here. I'll give you the second half later on when I die.
Right.
So when he finally gives it over, you expect, yeah, she's in trouble. I got her into this mess, and it's only right for me to do this to help her. You don't expect that he's just going to be abandoned in this fake hotel room on the roof of a building in downtown Los Angeles.
A hospital room.
Hospital room, excuse me. Sweating his ass off, not realizing what's really going on.
I knew both those.
Speaking of his ass.
Right. I think that might be the first time I've ever seen Nic Cage's ass.
Clearly it's not for me because I've seen this movie.
Well, fine. But I do know those two cops. I know the white guy. I'm pretty sure he was in the movie 13 Days that came out in the year 2000. And I know the black guy because he was in the Resident Evil movie that we covered.
I do not remember that.
He's the I don't know. He's the guy who gets cubed by the lasers.
He's the cubed guy?
Yes, that's the guy.
See, I don't remember him. I do remember someone being cubed.
That was him.
It's an impactful scene, to say the least.
Yeah.
So everybody's fucking in on this. Every person you're introduced to, and this is a relatively small cast. I think there's only a handful of people who are like their marks. The woman at the laundromat, the couple that they go to their house and pose as agents. I love at the beginning that they conned these people on the phone and then they con them again to their faces. They go to the same people posing as agents, saying, well, we'll investigate, but you need to sign over your account information for us to do it.
Which, if I am understanding this correctly, they basically sign over access to their bank account.
And they wipe them out.
That's fucking harsh. I mean, wow.
All this to say, con people are the scum of the earth. In this capacity. No.
They have sympathy for people who don't get tipped. That comes up a couple of times here when what's his name doesn't tip the valet drivers.
Maybe these two con men in particular know that there are people who are, quote, lower status than they are, and they know you shouldn't screw that person. But they'll screw other people, the ones that have it coming, quote unquote. I don't know.
Even there, they don't really address, okay, we're only going to go after bad people.
No, but in general, we in 2024 are sitting in this world of every day there is some new scam. There's some new way that people are trying to get your money.
Just scroll through Twitter and every other ad is something about invest your money into this new crypto token, or put your money into investing in AI and all of this other shit to just get your money away from you so that they can play around with it over here, and then you have no ability to get it out. That's what the scams are right now. A little while ago, people are trying to like lock your phone or lock your laptop or your desktop computer so that you give them ransom money to unlock the computer, whether it be through cash or you going to the store and buying gift cards.
The fact that people fall for that one is very bizarre to me.
We have somebody in our family that got scammed through that shit.
They get a random phone call from a phone number they don't know. They trust it. And the response that they're told is, well, get us gift cards. What government agency needs gift cards?
Or like they get a random text message saying your social security has been locked and you need to click this link and put in a whole bunch of different numbers and your bank account information so that we can unlock it for you.
Thank God that we have given our parents the talk like about
Oh, yeah.
don't fall for shit. Like have healthy cynicism of everything that you receive. Some of it might be real. Like I have genuinely gotten text messages from my bank saying that my card was compromised, but I had never received a text message from my bank before. So what do? I pull out my card, I find the phone number for the bank,
Yep.
I call the bank, they confirm, yes, that text was real. That's a real thing. Your card was duped and someone's trying to use it in Alabama or somewhere. That has happened to me before.
I've had people get into like my PayPal and pay for fucking like takeout. And it takes a long time to get it fixed, but it eventually gets fixed. I had my bank call me or text me or something. But my bank contacted me literally right after I drove about 100 miles away to go to Best Buy to buy a television. This was in like 2005. I was literally driving back and my bank called me and just wanted to confirm, did you actually do this before we put this charge through? Because, hey, you're buying an electronics item for a lot of money.
Out of state.
From
where you live.
Exactly. So after that, I was thankful. I'm glad that they do that.
So in real life, I hate con artists, but I can't help but enjoy this kind of a movie.
I love the artistry of it.
Yes, it's the design. I think that the people in real life who do it this way, I don't know that they ever have actually existed, or if they do, they're 1 in 1,000, 1 in 1,000,000.
They certainly wouldn't have a fucking office to work out of.
No, it's the artistry of it. Like for him to refer to himself as a con artist.
Yeah.
I appreciate this because I like the puzzle. I like all the pieces coming together and then he knocks down the dominoes and we watch them all fall.
See, I feel like you and I could put together some kind of scheme, but I don't want to because then that what does it say about us in that scenario? But what does it also say about other people that, you know, a lot of people are just really easily duped and they want to believe you, they want to help out people, and they also have doubts about themselves. Oh, maybe I did do something wrong with my bank account or my credit card or whatever.
Yeah, if you're just smarter than the next guy, it would not be hard to truly con a lot of people.
You just have to get over the hurdle of, hey, I'm hurting somebody.
Yeah, you have to get over your own morality. If you can deal with being a piece of shit, there you go. But don't do it.
Don't do it.
Guys, that sucks. So one person we really haven't talked about yet, which obviously we need to do because this is a series about Ridley Scott.
Yes.
Is his direction in this movie. Now, we didn't intend for this to happen, but we are actually so far in chronological order. He made Black Hawk Down in 2001, and Matchstick Men was his very next directed movie in 2003. And these are two incredibly different movies where that is like a gritty war drama. This is like a quirky crime caper.
Yeah, and again, like you said, these movies could not be further from each other as far as the content and just the vibe of everything. And, you know, after directing a huge war epic like Black Hawk Down was, maybe you want something simple like this, you know, to kind of cleanse your palate, as it were. But, you know, there are definitely some choices here where I had to point them out as they were happening, but there are like 3 scene transitions here where the frame just kind of spins and goes to the next scene. The next time, the frame just goes from right to left to swipe it off the screen. And the third one just goes up.
Yeah, the swipes and the spins were curious additions.
I don't think they really needed to be there because at no other time do you see, and like they don't do it all the time. And there's not like a button that they're trying to hit here to emphasize anything. No, it's just a scene transition. What the fuck?
I would say if there's anything that is like a negative about this movie is trying to lock down exactly what the tone he was going for was. Because yes, there are moments. This movie is quirky and funny and I love it. But then it goes really dark and dramatic. And then you throw in the weird swipes. I'm like, What is this movie?
Is this a comedy? Should I be laughing at this? Or is this just a choice you made?
But I agree with your statement that this is probably for him a palate cleanser because
Yeah.
he did this movie and then somewhere in here he also did Hannibal, which is again like a really dark kind of drama. He
Sure.
also was working on Kingdom of Heaven, another giant fucking epic movie, a period piece. So there's sort of this ebb and flow where he needs to be able to do some work, but maybe not something quite so challenging as these large scale movies.
Well, clearly the man is a workaholic because did you see his IMDb credits page? Because holy shit, does this guy make a lot of movies.
He doesn't stop. He absolutely does not stop.
Dude is in his fucking 80s, about to hit 90, and he's still got like 6 different projects in the works.
And most of the movies that we're going to be covering is when he's in his 60s. The man
Yeah.
is like 65, 66, 67 years old. Like, I haven't done anything remotely this complex. And I'm not nearly close to that age.
But as far as the rest of the directing is concerned, there are some other like lighting choices here that I think kind of lend itself to the movie itself. Like when they're swindling the couple at the beginning of the movie, everything is just kind of cool and blue. And when the woman goes out to let the dog out, she opens up the door and she's letting in the outside. And everything just kind of fills up with color and it's yellow and warm.
Sepia.
Yeah.
And bright. Yeah, that's a really interesting transition that he throws in.
And it happens a few times too. Like he's very much wanting to be inside. He's got this weird agoraphobic thing. And that is definitely a character thing of him, but it only really happens with him,
Well, because the movie's about him. He's the main character.
I suppose.
I would be willing to bet, I wasn't paying that close attention, but I would be willing to bet that if you watched this again from the beginning, that there are some tonal things. Like if you took a screenshot from the beginning of the movie and at the end of the movie, that his worldview has changed so much that the way they film it actually changes.
It looks a little bit more disheveled because by the time the daughter, quote unquote, moves out, his apartment, his house is a mess. It actually looks like somebody lives there. And also the camera is in a place that you've never seen it before. Other times it's like down near the floor because that's where his focus is.
Yeah, they changed the angle, they changed the cinematography. The mood of the movie by the end is very different. Like if we
Yes.
literally, after we're done recording, just go and like jump in at the beginning and then jump in at the end and put those two side by side, I'd be willing to bet they look fairly different.
I'm sure.
And it's a subtle thing.
Yeah.
But when you're really good at shit like that, you work it in so gradually that you, the viewer, don't even know it's happening.
And I'm sure it's relating to the fact that the character is also going through a change here too, because by the end of the movie, he is not ticking nearly as much. He is not really caring. He's forgetting that he has shoes on because he has such an obsession with shoes in the house and on the carpet. And that scene that I just mentioned, he's splayed out on the couch with just garbage everywhere and clothes everywhere. Like someone really lives there and he is living again.
And then, of course, the very last scene, he married the woman at the grocery store and they're having a
Yeah,
baby. So,
right.
like, he's let a human being into his life with Angela, and that changed him. And now he's able to finally ask that woman out, who he always goes to her checkout because he likes her, but he's too chicken shit to do anything about it. But clearly, he got over that. Because now they get to live happily ever after and she cooks for him and he eats actual food and not just canned tuna.
That was a choice. I don't really understand that one.
I think it's just a commitment to simplicity. Like it's the routine of it. He likes
Maybe.
it, so he doesn't want to try to cook. He doesn't like making the messes. He just has his little can, which is also, it's kind of a disgusting thing because as far as I can tell, he literally is just eating the tuna out of the can,
Yep.
meaning he's not putting any mayo, any mustard, nothing,
just
no
bread.
seasoning, no bread, just with a fork. That's icky.
Just tuna fish.
And I like tuna fish, but I would not eat it just straight out of a can with nothing.
No, you dress it up.
Well, before we wrap this up, Trent, I do want to say something, not to bring the mood down at all. However, I will, because I have to say this. I mentioned I watched this in the theater, and I watched it one time since then, and this is now my third time seeing this.
Okay.
This, unfortunately, to me, is the kind of movie you can't rewatch, because I sat here the whole movie just going, that's not his daughter. That's not his daughter. That isn't his daughter. And once you know the twist, and that's why I was so careful at the beginning when we came back to mention, if you've not seen this movie and you know that going in, I don't think you can enjoy this movie the same way.
That's a really good point because, again, this show in particular is a reaction show, and really the only person that can have a reaction here is me. Because honestly, there's nothing else here to react to other than the big-ass twist.
Yeah, the thing about this movie is the twist, is the big punchline at the end. But once you know what's really going on, there's certain movies you can go back and revisit, and you see all the little things along the way.
But once.
Maybe once.
You pick up all the different clues that you maybe missed before, but after that, I don't think there's really much else to say.
Yeah, this is a good movie. I think it is worth seeing, and most likely you are going to get fooled. But once you've seen it, it's not one that I can really go back to. And I was thinking maybe because it's been many, many years that I would feel differently. Unfortunately, all I can do is let you enjoy it and still go, it's a good movie. It is, but it's not a great movie. And I think that is the tiny kicker that would maybe make it rewatchable. If this was a great movie with the twist at the end.
Or if there was like more capers and like
something.
Comedy in what they're doing, but there's just nothing there. I was waiting to see what the hell they're going to do at the end of the movie. Because like I said, the majority of me watching this was just nodding my head. Okay, this is kind of a nice story between the daughter and him, and maybe they're going to have a relationship, maybe they won't. And by the end of the movie, yes, I'm surprised by the big thing, but then at the other end of this, I'm kind of duped as well. I feel bad because I wanted to like this stuff, and now I have to like it in a different way.
I think maybe it's because we, along with him, are the subject of the con. We don't get to see all the moving parts. Normally in a con movie, you get to see from the perspective of the people doing the conning, and whoever they're going to do the con job against, they don't know that that's what's happening. So you see them doing something innocuous, and then it ends up being, oh, they were getting ready for this one part of the con.
But that's just one.
But we don't get to see any of that. We don't get to see how the sausage gets made. We just see how he got fooled.
In a lot of other movies, you would see all of the, or maybe they would do a flashback to what Sam Rockwell is doing. They would add like 5 to 10 minutes of, let me reveal my evil plan to you, Mr. Bond, at the very end.
And I can respect Ridley Scott for not wanting to go there. I don't know if that was in the novel. I don't know if the screenwriter had different versions of this.
This is not a Rian Johnson movie.
No, it's not. But I like seeing how it actually happened. But because the twist is simply all of it was fake, that's how it happened.
Yeah, the twist is everything is fake. The whole thing.
And because of that, it's really hard to go back and do it again and again and again. I think it is, you can rewatch it, but it's just not the same.
Yeah, knowing what I know now, I'm totally with you.
I really liked this movie the first time I watched it, and I waited a little bit to see it again. And there are other movies in my life where I know there's a twist at the end, and I can rewatch it because the movie is so good for the rest of it, or the performances are good, that I can get on board and I'll watch it regardless. Something like The Sixth Sense, which is notorious twist at the end, or The Usual Suspects. Those are movies that can be rewatched because the rest of the movie is so good. I just don't think that this one in particular falls into that camp where the first, 95% is so strong and so good that you don't mind that that the twist ruins the whole thing.
Yeah, and you can enjoy the setup, because part of the ending is the journey. You have to get there first. You have to relive that in order to get everything. And I'm with you. I don't know if I were to watch this again, if I would get the same kind of reaction, I would do the thing that I just said. I would pick out all the different points where he's trying to lead him down this road so that they can set up the final con. But after that, I don't know. I don't think that I would see it a third time at the very least.
Yeah. So having seen it 3 times, I was hoping my opinion the second rewatch would be different, but I can confirm that this movie, it's kind of a one and done. I think it's rare. It's very rare for me to say that, but I think this is just structurally and plot-wise the kind of movie that once you know, that's it.
Yep. As a one-off, it's good. I like this.
But Trent, do you have any final thoughts about Matchstick Men before we move on to our next Ridley Scott movie?
I like when Nic Cage is flummoxed and he's hesitating and he just goes, That's all.
Yeah, his performance is really good in it. If for no other reason, you should watch this movie to see Nicolas Cage really Nicolas Cage.
Just watch Nic Cage in movies. That's all you need to know.
Okay, well, that is going to do it for Matchstick Men. Do you agree with our assessment? If you'd like to send us an email about that, definitely do. But, keep in mind what we just went on a 10-minute tangent about for the future listeners who may hear your email. So send us your thoughts, neverseenitpod@gmail.com. We got a message from our superfan Stephanie about our last entry in the Never Scream It series. This year we did Carrie from 1976, which is a first-time watch for both of us.
A classic.
She begins. This is a great movie and story. Sissy Spacek is amazing. Love the teacher. She is great, and yes, those types of punishment really work sometimes, meaning, of course, slapping the student.
Oh,
or no,
it's more, hey, let's take away the prom from them.
Yes, and making them do physical fitness exercises. She finishes that thought with the only empathetic adult in this movie. Absolutely. The adults in Carrie are terrible people.
Yeah.
Between Carrie and Dazed and Confused, I am not certain that adults in the 70s really cared what teens did. They seemed super unconcerned with the bullying and Carrie's mom abusing her. It was a different time in those days. We weren't around, thank goodness. So sometimes my husband and I say, they're all gonna laugh at you. For some reason, the way we say it is creepy, but it makes us laugh.
They're all gonna laugh at you.
They're all gonna laugh at you. They're all good. Yeah,
Maybe we should start doing that.
No, we're not going to start doing that. I agree that Carrie would never get a happy ending, even if prom night went very differently. Her mom would have triggered something at some point. Yet with the circumstances that she was living under, if this didn't set her off, something else was going to.
I suppose. I mean, you're graduating from high school very, very soon, so maybe she's just going to go off into the world anyway. I don't know.
We'll never know.
We had a bit of a thought experiment in the Carrie episode at the very end. Go listen to that one just to listen to us kind of hypothesize. What if something went differently at the end of the movie?
What do you think happened? Send us your thoughts at neverseenitpod@gmail.com. She concludes with her final watches of October because she always sends us all of the spooky movies she watched for the whole month. So on October 25th, she watched The Babysitter, very fun horror comedy. October 26th, The Autopsy of Jane Doe, super freaky, really great acting. October 27th, Muppet Haunted Mansion.
There you go.
All movies should have a Muppet version.
Fucking A.
October 28th, The Babysitter 2, Killer Queen, great sequel. Happy Halloween. Love you guys from Superfan Stephanie.
Thank you, Stephanie.
I don't think I know any of those movies. Like even the Muppet one, I don't remember there being a Haunted Mansion version.
Well, it was definitely after Disney acquired the Muppets, so hey.
Logic would dictate. Yeah, but I can't help but notice she ended at the 28th, so I suspect there could be more Halloween movies coming our way.
Yes.
But thank you, Stephanie, for all of your thoughts as per usual. We love hearing from you. And we would love to hear from the rest of you. That email again, neverseenitpod@gmail.com. If you don't want to send an email, you could also message us on any of our social media platforms. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Blue Sky. If you've enjoyed this episode, we would also love if you go to wherever you're listening to a podcast and rate us 5 stars, write us a review, send us positivity out into the universe.
Through the magic of the internet, you can make us happy.
If you want to spread more happiness, you can also join us over at patreon.com/neverseenitpod. $5 a month gets you six shows now.
A whole bunch of shows.
A whole lot of shows where we talk about rom-coms and we talk about our favorite movies. We also have a randomizer that is sending us to any and every year for about a 60-year span, and we don't really know what movie we'll be watching every month.
And we're in our 4th season of watching trilogies of movies. We did Mad Max, we did the Dark Knight trilogy, we did Magic Mike, and we're in the middle of doing Jurassic Park, the original.
So all that can be yours and more at patreon.com/neverseenitpod.
What Betsy said.
I'm a terrible salesperson. I'm so sorry. But that is going to be it for Matchstick Men. But Ridley Scott month does not end here. We've got 2 more movies. Trent, what are we going to be doing next week?
Next week, we are staying in the aughts. Ridley Scott made a whole lot of big movies in the aughts.
He made so many movies in this decade.
Yes, we are going to be covering American Gangster, which I have heard a whole lot of great things about, and we couldn't say no. So that's next week.
So come back for that episode. Until then, we thank you as always for listening. My name is Betsy.
And my name is Trent.
And we'll see you next week.